So here we are, week 19 in my unbroken streak of rambling. Recent Rambles, episode 19. How surprising is that? Perhaps, well, you should be surprised. I think I've done well to stick at it for all these weeks in a row and not miss a single episode. If I do say so myself, I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm going to an event this weekend, which I'll talk a little bit more about towards the end of this ramble. So hopefully I survive that and make it through to episode 20. And I guess maybe I should do something special for that. I don't really know. I haven't thought that far ahead. And speaking of not thinking too far ahead, I was really surprised at the kind of the positive reaction to last week's ramble. And I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because that's what I do. Going into that one, I really liked the concept of kind of talking about how important it's been to me as someone with a YouTube channel to take inspiration from stuff that's kind of outside my usual sort of community and sphere of influence. And there's some channels in there that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, and that if you've ever sort of spoken to me online about YouTubing stuff, I probably would have mentioned at least one of them to you at some point or other and said, hey, you should check out this channel. So I wanted to kind of put that out as a wider thing. But I do think that perhaps I probably should have put a little bit more preparation into that and kind of thought of some more specific examples of videos and things from those channels that had inspired me and how they'd inspired my own kind of videos, just to give it a bit more of a personal connection. I was just kind of thinking as I was editing it that maybe I should drop the whole thing and leave it for another time, particularly as I'd committed to showing like video clips of those channels, and that actually ended up being a lot more work than I expected it to be. I was going to grab some of those videos and kind of show them, but in the end, I just did some screen capture. But even that ended up taking, a good few hours just to go through and sort of find examples of videos that I wanted to show people that I thought were good examples from those channels, and record those clips and then kind of splice them all together in Resolve. But there you go. I won't be committing to that again for a while. So this is a predominantly or a pretty much entirely audio offering this week. But thank you very much for your reaction to that episode. I had some great suggestions from people in the comments and also on Discord and stuff from, regular listeners for other channels that they enjoy. And I've been checking some of those out. And I think some of those are going to be going into my regular rotation as well. So that's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And just another update really to do with previous rambles, and that's the solar videos. Obviously, it's been a couple of weeks since I took the solar videos down or made them private, and it has had an impact on my channel. I think that's now become apparent, very clearly apparent what effect that's going to have going forwards longer term. Now looking at my analytics and stuff. So there was a period in kind of May time, April, May time, when my channel was getting about 1,500 views in a typical day, 1,000 to 1,500, something like that. That's around where it peaked. And we're talking between video releases here, because I'll release a video and then I'll pretty much get 3,000 or 4,000 views within the next 48 hours, and then it just suddenly dies straight back off again as well, which is a whole different topic for conversation. But just kind of poking around my analytics now and looking at obviously the week immediately after taking those videos down. I've been averaging sort of high 500s, high 500s, low 600s sort of daily views. So around, absolute worst case scenario, around a third, but maybe kind of a third to a half. And of course, I released that video about the Atari Museum last week, which was, I really enjoyed that one. And that one has got an excellent response as well. But yeah, poking around it seems my background views have kind of dropped right off to kind of that level and have kind of settled around 500 to 600 views a day, which I appreciate. It's still good numbers. I'm still quite happy with that. So still very happy with that decision. I have had a few people track me down. One person joined my Discord server, and I don't know if there was a bit of a language barrier there, but they were quite blunt about demanding to know where the where the solar videos had gone. And I also had an email from someone. It's someone who had emailed me before previously on the topic, just saying, it looks like your videos have gone. Have they been taken down, or what's the situation? And I sent him a reply, just saying, it's not what I want to focus on. This is a retro computing channel, and I don't really feel qualified to talk about those. Obviously, this is all stuff that I've been over already. And yeah, I never heard back from him. So other than that, not really much feedback on the mysterious disappearance of the solar videos. But it still feels like it's been a huge weight off for me. You know, I do really feel like it has allowed me to kind of concentrate on the stuff that I want to concentrate on. And that Atari Museum video as well that went out last week, I was really, really pleased with the way that came out. You know, it's a shame it doesn't have tens of thousands of views on it, but it's a quiet time of year for us YouTubers. So yeah, there you go. And I was actually thinking off the back of that as well. This was going to be a topic for a little bit later on, but I tell you what, let's do it now. I was thinking off the back of that one as well. You know, what can I do to kind of promote my channel and kind of, you know, I have a really fantastic community around my channel. I've got my Discord members, of course, and I've got all the regular names that always pop up within the first kind of 24 hours of a video going up. And I'm thinking, how you know, you watch videos from a lot of YouTubers out there, and they're quite I don't want to say shameless, but of course it's not. You've got to play the game, but they're quite upfront about asking people to you know, like and subscribe and share the video and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't really do that. You know, if a video is going to be part of an ongoing series, I'll say be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future installments in the series, and I think that's fair enough to say. You know, I don't push my Patreon or anything like that, and I've stopped doing sponsored videos as well. And as far as ads go as well, I mean, the recent Atari Museum video, again, just as an example, I thought I'd play with the automatic ad placement thing and see what YouTube themselves recommended that I should put into that video, which, if I just click on it now, is a 16-minute video. And it put 4 ads in there, and I think the first one was within like the first 2 minutes, and there was one right at the end, sort of halfway through the outro. And I thought that, you know, as a viewer, as someone who's not, you know, not in the fortunate position to be able to pay for premium, or, you know, someone watching not logged in, or, you know, I don't know, you know, but plenty of people out there who don't use ad blockers and are quite happy to watch the ads on YouTube. I mean, personally, I have a premium subscription. But yeah, for someone watching that video, their experience of that video is going to be absolutely horrendous. You know, adverts just cutting me off mid-sentence and that kind of stuff. And 4 adverts within a 16.5-minute video. It's like, whoa, you know, what a shitty user experience. So I manually placed one right in the middle of that. When I was editing, there was a point that I got to around the 8-minute mark. I think it's around the 9-minute mark, actually, about 8:50 something. I got to a point where I thought, you know, I'm covering kind of multiple items as separate things, and there's quite a nice natural break, which is going to be sort of somewhat in the middle. So I'll stick an ad in there. You know, and as I've said previously, the ad revenue from these videos isn't why I do it. The pennies that I make from them, yeah, I might get lucky and have another solar video blow up, and then of course having the adverts in there, you know, it is very helpful monetarily. But yeah, that's a word, isn't it? But by and large, you know, I'd rather not ruin people's viewing experience for the couple of quid that I'm going to make from the video. But YouTube will push the videos that make it the most money, so you have to play the game if you want the algorithm to push your videos to a wider audience. Unfortunately, and this all kind of factors into kind of what I'm saying. You know, getting back on topic, there are a lot of creators out there who will mobilize their audience and say, you know, share this and like it and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't do that, and I think the reason I don't do that is because, if you look at some of the channels that I've mentioned last week, people like Casey Neistat, Van Neistat, abroad in Japan, they, you know, like I said last week, we watch those channels on our TV, and we're not watching YouTube, so to speak. We're watching things that those creators have created, you know, entertainment videos kind of things. And when they suddenly stop in the middle of the video to say, oh, you know, if you're enjoying this, please subscribe, I think it does take away from that experience. It suddenly kind of, it breaks that immersion and kind of, you know, kind of drags you out of it for a second, out of the kind of the video that you've been enjoying and the topic and stuff. And of course you have to do it, because if you want the channel to keep growing and expanding, you have to remind viewers to do these things. But I just don't like to do it. you know, I don't take offense and get angry when other people do it, because I totally understand that it's part of the game and part of the system. But in my own videos, I can choose not to do it, and so I choose not to do it. Same goes for sponsor spots and stuff nowadays as well. I took that decision sort of around the beginning of this year. I know I have done a sponsored video with EcoFlow this year, which was obviously off the back of all the solar stuff. But I stopped doing the JLC PCB sponsor slots and stuff purely because I couldn't fit it in within the narrative of the video in a way that was kind of seamlessly integrated and that didn't kind of ruin the flow of it all. I think there's nothing worse than when you start watching a video and then all of a sudden, you know, it gets to the middle part and they're like, hey, by the way, you know, let's just take a break for a second to tell you about yada, yada, yada. And it's kind of that immersion breaking thing. And again, you know, I watch plenty of channels that do it and I totally understand they have to make a living from it. And that's perfectly fine. That's their decision. And I don't really take great offense to it. But again, for my own videos, for where my channel is right now, it's just something that I'm choosing not to do, and hopefully something that I choose not to do going forward as well. Or hopefully I'll be in that fortunate position, you know, like the LGR and the 8-bit guy and people like that who also don't do that kind of thing. Anyway, I really am rambling now. Oh, just completely off topic. Have you spotted? I don't know if there's any fellow Atari Jaguar collectors listening to this, but I've had Rayman. Rayman is a very rare kind of later release on the Jag, and it's one of the very, very few that I need to complete my collection. I think I only need like 2 or 3, depending on how you define a complete cartridge release collection on the Jag. I think there's like literally 2 or 3 games that I need, and one of them is Rayman. There's been so many copies popping up on eBay this last couple of weeks. I don't really understand. Maybe because of the current sort of global financial situation, there are a lot of people thinking, well, hang on a second, why on earth am I sitting on this big pile of Atari Jaguar games that some idiot out there is quite happy to pay loads of money for? And everyone's taken that decision at the same time and decided to just flog them off. Or perhaps something else is afoot, and there's some slightly dodgy copies that have started to come onto the market. I know in the world of Atari Jaguar collecting, it is unfortunately quite common that you do come across reproductions and you know, fakes essentially being sold as original. But anyway, that's completely off topic. I don't even know what that's got to do with anything. But yeah, so the state of my channel and ongoing stuff to do with advertising and promotion and that kind of stuff. And I started to have these thoughts, you know, I started to have these, that Jaguar thing was very random, wasn't it? I started to have these thoughts. You know, I was lying awake one night and kind of just pondering the kind of the drop in the traffic and the drop in subscriber growth from taking the solo videos down. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably see that earlier this week I posted something just kind of advertising my channel and saying this is the kind of stuff that I do. Retweets very much appreciated, which is really, really out of character for me. It's not something that I have really done before. But it came off the back of this kind of train of thought that I was on one night. Just thinking about how I can kind of mobilize my audience and my followers to just help me to grow my channel more. Because surely, I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube channels and I want them to be successful, you know. I kind of, you have this parasocial relationship with them, and you get kind of emotionally involved in how they're doing and all of that kind of stuff, and you want to see them do well. And also for kind of more selfish reasons, because if they do well, that means, you know, maybe they've got more money coming in and they're more highly motivated and they'll make more content and better content, which from a purely selfish point of view benefits me as a viewer. And I think people are always happy to help out. And I know a lot of people in my community have always been happy to help out. And it's just kind of putting that forward in the right way and just kind of people giving people a gentle reminder that, you know, it'd be nice if a few more people kind of watch my videos. And, you know, I'm certainly not in a position to complain. But I do see a lot of videos out there with, you know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views on them. And I think, well, they're not as good as my videos. You know, why aren't all of these people watching my videos instead? But there you go. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that. If you want to give me some feedback on that. I don't know whether to do I don't know whether to do like a channel update, a state of the channel kind of video. I used to do them years ago on my channel, and I kind of decided that they were too much of a distraction from the actual sort of content that I wanted to make, just kind of educating people on history and tinkering with stuff and that kind of side of things. So I actually stopped doing those so I could concentrate more on what I would kind of describe as the actual content. But plenty of channels do them, and of course people find them very interesting because they like to sort of hear behind the scenes and the kind of thought process that goes into these things. You know, same reason people watch my second channel and sign up for my Patreon and indeed listen to Reese Rambles, because they like to sort of hear the background behind the face, behind the channel. So yeah, should I do a channel update video, and should I use it as a kind of gentle reminder to persuade people to sort of help me out a little bit by, I don't know, in any way that they can? I mean, even just watching the videos is a big help, because you know, every single view on a video is very much appreciated and all helps with the almighty algorithm, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to bother people, but at the same time, I do feel like perhaps I'm wasting an opportunity maybe. So it'd be interesting to know people's thoughts on that. I hate to beg, and I hate to put out a video with some kind of cryptic title like, oh, you know, I don't know, the serious thoughts about the future of the channel, you know, like about the future of the channel, and then like a you know, picture of my face looking sad or whatever, implying that I'm going to give up, and then, you know, saying, hey guys, sorry for the clickbait, but it was the only way I could get you to watch. By the way, make sure you all like and subscribe. You know, it's just really shitty when people do that. So yeah, working out an ethical and a nice way to go about that kind of rallying cry or whatever it is. But actually, otherwise, I am actually happy with the way that things are going. And, you know, the solar decision didn't completely kill off my channel, which kind of a concern. And yeah, things are still moving very much in the right direction. It's just if there's an opportunity there, I think I'd like to take it. I've just whacked the microphone there. I hope that didn't make a big awful noise. And talking a bit more about my channel and a bit more about kind of background stuff that's going on in the background. One thing I'm noticing, one thing that other than people kind of chasing me for the solar content, I've had a couple of comments from people, and even on my Atari Museum, requesting Amiga related content. And look, I have nothing against the Amiga. This is something I have discussed in great detail in previous rambles. It's just not where my experience lies. I did do an Amiga video a long time ago as part of Amigathon, which was a big charity Amiga stream thing, which I have talked about in rambles in the past. But just very briefly, I had an Amiga 600 that was kind of donated to me. Had zero experience whatsoever with the Amiga, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a little video for this live stream of kind of looking at the Amiga for the very first time from the point of view of an Atari ST guy. And I've mentioned in the past that that video did attract some interesting comments. Mainly from people who hadn't even watched it, and people who like to get angry about sort of 30, 40-year-old computers. But there you go, those people are always going to be out there. But that's not the reason why I don't cover the Amiga. I think the reason is just that there are loads of channels out there covering it already. And I think to be brutally honest, and this is something that has come up in conversation this week, that I just kind of wanted to touch on. To be brutally honest, I think there was a phase among retro computing YouTubers when the Amiga was kind of seen as a bit of a shortcut, a bit of a kind of a cheat code to get lots of views, because there's a huge audience for it, and they're quite a loyal audience who will watch any content kind of related to that particular machine. And, you know, if I did an Amiga video, it would get a lot of interest and it would get a lot of views. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's cheating. You know, obviously, if you're passionate about that and you know that's what you're interested in and that's what you want to cover as a YouTuber, then knock yourself out. Go for it. You know, it's great to kind of get that content out there and kind of educate people and share your passion and stuff in the same way that I do with my kind of Atari stuff and my kind of old PC stuff. But But yeah, I think it would be disingenuous of me to make Amiga videos just for the sake of knowing that they'll do well and they'll be popular. And of course, they'll attract an audience that might not be kind of entirely invested in the kind of stuff that I cover. Or maybe it would be a good idea. I don't know. I'm sure I'll probably get comments from people telling me to go for it. Although I will say on that note, I am going to Kickstart this weekend, which is something I haven't talked about publicly, but I can talk about it now because while you're listening to this, I will be there. If you're not there, I presume if you are there, you're not going to listen to my ramble while you're at the show. I'd like to think that you would kind of be present in the moment and enjoy the show. But yeah, Kickstart is it's the first event of its type. It's being organised by a guy called Ravi, who's a good friend of mine, and he has a lot of experience in organising big events. He's done like recruitment events for universities and that kind of stuff in the past. So very, very kind of switched on and very kind of up to speed in that world. And very, very passionate. I know I keep saying very, very, don't I? A very passionate member of the Amiga community. You know, he's done like an Amiga laptop project in the past, has his own YouTube channel. And looking at the stuff that he's organised, this thing is going to be absolutely amazing. You know, it's a 2-day event. He's got some really, really good speakers from kind of the 80s and 90s game development scenes. Some really good kind of sellers and people showing stuff at the show. And it's a 2-day event and it's sold out. There's also an after party on the Saturday, which is a literal piss up in a brewery. And it's a brave man who organises a piss up in a brewery because the old saying, of course. So hopefully it's successful. With a big party and obviously like Hoffman and a couple of other DJs are playing as well. So that should be pretty cool. And yeah, I thought, you know, it's half an hour from me in Nottingham. It's the first of its kind, but I like Ravi. I get on really well with him, and you know, I want to kind of support him and show my support for this thing. And I hope it's successful, and I hope it leads to more kind of retro computing events in the UK, kind of this scale and of this quality. So really looking forward to that one. And there's a lot of friends that I've kind of made in the community as well that I'm going to be meeting this weekend. People I've met before and a few people that I'm going to be meeting for the first time. So that should be really interesting. I'm not sure. I don't really want to take my camera and everything. Apparently they are making an official video. So as part of the weekend, apparently they are hiring a proper professional film crew to make an actual, I mean, they're talking about releasing it on DVD and stuff as well, you know, a really sort of polished video of all of the talks and kind of summing up the weekend and that kind of stuff. And I can't really compete with that. But at the same time, I think that people might be interested in seeing my kind of experience of it and, you know, seeing maybe as someone who's kind of an outsider to the Amiga community, just kind of how my weekend went. You know, I'm expecting it to be a really cool weekend. I don't want to take the camera and the tripod and the gimbal and the, you know, microphones and all that kind of stuff and lug that around with me all day. I'd quite like to sort of enjoy the weekend and not be there as a YouTuber, so to speak. But yeah, I might whip my phone out. I might get some bits of video and just cover some kind of bits and bobs. I did mention in the previous Ramble last week that I wanted to do, when we go to America in later in the year, that I wanted to do like the Musée Mécanique in San Francisco, which is like an old pinball and mechanical gaming museum. And that I wanted to do the Pinball Museum in Vegas and maybe a few other things and try and sort of record that and put something together about that, just using a very kind of minimalist filming setup. Just use my phone. I've got a Pixel 6a. It takes amazing quality video and I could definitely do something with that. So maybe this weekend will be an opportunity to kind of have a play with that setup and see what I can record on my phone. Maybe see if I can talk to a couple of people and just kind of do it in a very kind of ad hoc and very kind of informal way and see if I can pull something together afterwards. So, yeah, might be a thing, might not be a thing. This might be the last you ever hear about it. But there you go. So I'm going to be at Kickstart and, yeah, should be fun. Just booked my hotel today, which is very expensive. But there you go. That's Nottingham for you. And just on that whole topic of YouTube and all of that kind of stuff, I've also had a few conversations with people this week about the algorithm, which again is in air quotes. You can't see me doing those because this is a predominantly audio offering. But yeah, the algorithm. And particularly people from kind of much smaller channels. And one thing that I've noticed on my homepage on YouTube is that I am getting smaller channels pushed at me, which is fantastic. It's really good to see. I don't know if that's because I watch a lot of smaller channels, because I have friends who make videos who have, you know, they're less than 500 subscribers or less than 1,000 subscribers, and I watch all of their videos religiously, and perhaps YouTube thinks that that's a sign that I'm interested in smaller channels, which I am. You know, I am really big on kind of supporting people who are trying to get started, because I know it's difficult. I've been there myself very recently. But it's quite cool to see on the YouTube homepage videos coming up that have got like 30 or 40 views, just like people playing with consoles. And I've had a few that have come through that have been like really, really good quality. And it's like, well, you know, someone's really putting the work in here, and I really hope they go far. And, you know, to those people, I will leave a comment and I'll give it a thumbs up, and I will watch the entire video, because I know that that's the stuff that the algorithm is looking for, and that will kind of lead to it to push the video as well. And I think they're kind of the three things that it looks at. It's the click-through rate, which is obviously is the thumbnail, and are the thumbnail and the title good? Are lots of people clicking on it? It's retention, which is how much as a percentage of the video that a typical viewer watches. So if you watch a video and you particularly enjoy it, watch it all the way to the end, because that will help weight it more highly as far as the algorithm is concerned. And interaction as well. People are always saying, oh, you know, leave a like on this video and let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And that's a very deliberate decision on the kind of the part of YouTubers, because they know that YouTube sees that data as evidence of a good quality video, and will help to push it further. And yeah, it kind of makes me, all of that said, it kind of makes me a bit sad when people say, oh, you know, the algorithm's got it in for me. It's not recommending my videos to people, because I've gotten quite into something called retention editing over the past 6 months or so. It's something I've really kind of been studying and putting a lot of thought into. And it's just, I mean, this is something I talk about a lot, but just a way of structuring videos that keeps people engaged. You know, you have to keep the story advancing and keep kind of revealing things to them, and not in a, oh, you know, keep watching till the end and we'll reveal this big yada yada, because that's I mean, that's cheap, isn't it? But you know, just a way of kind of keeping people's attention. And it doesn't have to be Mr. Beast style with text flying around everywhere and loud noises and all of that rubbish. It's just I think there's a bit of an art to it, and not wanting to blow my own trumpet so much. Looking at some of my recent videos, my retention graphs have been very, very strong, which I think is a direct result of me kind of putting the work into that particular area of YouTube editing. So it's good to kind of see a return on that effort. But yeah, I think some of these smaller channels that complain that the algorithm isn't pushing their videos, they don't take the time to study this stuff and to kind of study what viewers look for in a video, and kind of what keeps them engaged. And that's something that I like to share that knowledge with people, and that's why I talk about it quite a lot in these rambles. And if you talk to me on Discord or in person, it's something that I'm very happy to sort of share with people, because I want to help them out, and I do really want to sort of let people know how important this stuff is. You know, to YouTube, if you want your channel to be successful and you want it to grow. I don't think there's some grand conspiracy. I don't think that smaller channels are being oppressed or anything like that. I think it's just a case of YouTube trying to determine what people actually want to watch, and using the very limited screen real estate that they have on the homepage to push those videos to the right people. And I think as a creator, you have to do everything you can to make those videos successful, and to kind of tick all the right boxes as far as the system, as far as the algorithm is concerned. But that's something that I ramble on about quite a lot, and I'm sure you're all fed up of hearing it. Oh, one thing that did come up in the world of pro YouTube this week, something that's coming soon that you'll have to keep an eye out for, because it's quite interesting, is A/B testing of thumbnails. So apparently people like Mr. Beast are already playing with this, and it's going to trickle down to the rest of us mere mortals at some point in the near future. And they're saying that next year it will be a full-blown, full rollout, final release thing. So it's going to be beta access, in the next few months of the year, rolling out to various channels. So A/B testing of thumbnails. So basically, as a YouTuber, as a content creator, we can obviously add a thumbnail to a video. Really important part of marketing a video and trying to get people to click on it. And this new feature means that we can upload up to 3, and we'll, we can create 3 thumbnails for a video. No obligation, we don't have to, but it's an option that will be available to us. And YouTube will try showing different thumbnails to different people, and eventually, determine which is the kind of the most successful, the most clickable one. And it looks like, from what I've seen from some of the stuff that Mr. Beast has been posting, it looks like you can actually target specific things like retention, rather than just click-through rate and that kind of stuff. And YouTube will show different thumbnails to different people and determine which is the most successful based on your criteria. And then it will push that one kind of more widely. I'm not sure whether it will customize that per user. I know on Netflix, for example, Catherine and I watch Netflix on 2 different accounts. She watches a lot of the true crime, murder type stuff. I watch. We generally use I don't really watch stuff on my account on my own. It's generally for the stuff that we watch together. A lot of that's kind of food related, and I watch a lot of films and stuff like that. But one thing that you do notice looking at the 2 different accounts is that you get different thumbnails depending on which account you're logged in on for the same content. And I think that's really interesting. And Netflix have spoken about this publicly in the past. And of course, the reason they do that is because different people have different preferences when it comes to thumbnails and what they'll click on. And it would be really cool if YouTube did that as well. If you're the kind of person, I could upload three thumbnails on a video, and one of them could have a big picture of my face on it. One of them could have a very simple version with just kind of one item in question, which is kind of what I've been kind of pushing towards with my more recent videos. And I could have a third version that's just a load of clutter and literally everything I mentioned in the video, really bright in your face, lots of stuff on there. And YouTube could say, right, okay, so this user clicks on lots of thumbnails with faces on, so we'll show them the face thumbnail. And this user likes quite minimalistic thumbnails, so we'll show them the more minimalistic thumbnail, and so on. This person likes really bright in-your-face, colourful thumbnails, so we'll show them the really bright in-your-face, colourful one. I don't think it's going to be that clever. I think it's probably going to be random, which would be a bit of a shame, would be a bit of a missed opportunity. But speaking as someone who works in the world of software development and web development, I do appreciate how much, massively more complicated it would be for their algorithm to also have to decide the right thumbnail for the right viewer. But if it increases, their retention on the site and their ad revenue and all that side of the financial side of things for YouTube, maybe worth the extra overhead and worth the extra effort. So who knows? But should be an interesting thing, and it's something that I'm going to be taking advantage of. On my latest Atari Museum video, I was planning on making sort of different versions of the thumbnail and kind of swapping them out occasionally. All the big channels do it, but it's very much a manual process at the moment. But as it happens, that one has actually had a really strong click-through rate. The one with Kermit the Robot. I think it's actually a really good thumbnail. I might have, by the time you listen to this, I might have come up with some alternatives and maybe tried those out if you've spotted any different ones. So, something I would definitely be having a play with as soon as it becomes available on my channel. But there you go. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this week's Ramble. So I may catch you this weekend at Kickstart if you're there, if you're an Amiga person, or you're probably listening to this after rather than, like I say, at the event. So, if you did meet me in person, I hope I wasn't too weird. Seems unlikely, but you never know. Thank you very much for listening. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and I shall leave you to it. Oh, and of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe to Control-Alt-Reese and do all that other stuff. Do all the other stuff as well. That's my extra ask for this week. Okay, that's enough for now. Bye.